I started out memorizing quotes. Then I got a coach. Then I started listening to other motivational speakers. Then I started going to seminars and workshops. Then I started speaking on a volunteer basis because I thought it was my calling. A calling is something that you're made for. So a calling is something that you love so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. It's the time if you want to be on top of your game. Now listen, this is not for everybody. The masses will use their time being a spectator. We've been conditioned and programmed to be spectators, to watch people live their dreams. You want to use your time living the kind of life that people watch you. Hello? That people pay money to see you. People pay money to buy your books. People pay money to go to your seminars or your workshops or to purchase your art or to hear your lecture on a particular subject area. You want to use your time perfecting your skill and your passion to stand out as an expert. Use your time to operate from that consciousness of Henry David Thoreau, who said, "Do not go where the path may lead, go where there is no path and leave a trail." I talked to a friend of mine yesterday that has a new invention. I said, "Whoa!" I said, "How long have you been working on this?" "Well, some time, but I finally got it together." I said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." Because if you look around, people are coming up with new ideas. And here's something. If you do this, if you maximize your time, if you just decide, I'm going to find something that I would enjoy doing, and then I'm going to carve out the time and have a schedule that I'm working on it every day, listen to me, nobody can touch you. I was just going through the internet the other day. It's amazing the magnitude of craziness that's out there. This computer, the video, you can use it to start a global business, to earn millions of dollars, to touch millions of people. And it's amazing the time and the effort that people put in to produce stuff that's nonsense. It's amazing. There's no competition. There's no excuse today for not becoming successful. Even if you've just lost your job, even if you're going through foreclosure and eviction, you can come back. You have no competition because the majority of the people throw their time away and they have nothing to show for it. I remember when I was in Miami and I came down and I just finished doing one of the television shows that I'd been paid $5 million for. And I saw a friend of mine named Lefty that we used to shoot pool together on 3rd Avenue and 12th Street across from Douglas Elementary School, Sam's pool room. And I said, "Look, Lefty, I'm about to go back to Columbus, Ohio." He said, "Oh, great, man." He said, "I'll be right here when you come back," holding down the corner. He was holding down the corner. This guy that I used to look up to, he was a very talented and gifted basketball player. He was holding down the corner, have about 12 teeth in his mouth, holding down the corner. Have you seen people who just, their lives are just stopped? They're not working and producing. "Herein my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit." We were put here to bear some fruit? No. Much fruit. To be productive, to make an impact, to create a presence. That's why we're here. To work. To leave our mark. And so do an evaluation of yourself. Ask yourself, if you look at 24 hours, how much time do you spend developing your mind? How much time do you spend learning a new skill? The economy has changed. 47 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence. Majority of money being made on the planet is being made virtually at home on a computer. The game has changed. The day where you can go to college and graduate and have thousands of dollars of debt and be able to get a job working for 40 years and retire in 40 years on 40%, which wasn't enough in the first place, that day is gone. And I'm encouraging you, get around people who are using their time productively, because people rub off on you. I remember Steve Skilkin. He's out of Columbus, Ohio. He really inspired me to earn my first million. He's a very good friend of mine. And said, hey, Boo and I, we're ready to watch the Baltimore Colts at Johnny Unitas. He said, I can't come Sunday afternoon. And I said, why? He said, I'm at the office. I'm working. I said, you the boss, man. Have your staff do the work on Monday morning. He said, I got a goal of earning my first million by myself and not with my father's money. Now, I was on the east side of Columbus, Ohio, living in what I would call a human doghouse. That's an apartment that does not have a back door. And Steve lived in Bexley in a home that's valued at probably $7 or $8 million. I'm getting all ready, me and Boo, Calvin and Patrick, let's sit in front of the television, watch Johnny Unitas and the Baltimore Colts live their dreams. And Steve, whose father, Joseph Skilkin, built shopping malls all across the United States. Steve, whose father left him and lent his sister millions of dollars, was at work on a Sunday afternoon. And I sat there for a minute, and I got up and I walked out. Boo said, aren't you going to watch the game? I said, no. I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I focused my energy. I said, wait a minute, he's already a millionaire. He inherited millions of dollars, but he had this sense of himself that he didn't want to capitalize on what his father generated. He wanted to be able to outdo his father. See, this is the first generation that will not outdo their parents. What I've accomplished, what I've done, based upon what Mamie Brown put in me, my mother, I went beyond her. She had a 3rd grade education. I had a 12th grade. I was in the 12th grade, graduated from Booker T. Washington High School in special education. But because of what she put in me, I went far and touched millions of people's lives around the world because of how I used my time. She worked in a cafeteria. She worked for wealthy families. And there's nothing wrong with that. But our children are to go beyond us. I was with a friend and he called his son and wanted to borrow some money for gas. I didn't say anything, none of my business. My mother used to have a sign on her mirror, oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business. Miles Monroe, he said, when you know your purpose, that narrows how you use your time. How you use your time. How are you using your time? You have something special. You have greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. I know you've done some things that you're proud of, but I can tell you, based upon my own experience, if you're willing to put in the time with a coach, that's me up in here. If you're willing to put in the time to learn how you can use your voice, to learn how you can use your story. And the time is now. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. No, don't take it for granted. You've got more in you. Be willing to learn something new. Be willing to put in the time and the effort to acquire new skills so that you'll be in charge of your financial future. Things about the bottom is about to fall out in this economy. I know a thing or two. I'm a former elected official. I know the signs. And so the people that are going to come out on top are the people that will put in the time and effort to learn something new, to get the coaching that they need to get, to save them time. You always want to do things that can save you time. From somebody who's been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt. If that's who you are, if you want to save some time learning how you can use your story and your knowledge and take advantage of this attention economy, if you're serious, I only want to work with people that are serious, that are hungry, because I was hungry. I'm just not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. And that's just not me. I don't like going into an office and being all cooped up. No, seeing people I don't want to see every day. No. You are here to live life on your terms. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. You're made in the likeness and image of God. If you believe that, then live like that. Live from a place of power. Because that's who you are. You got it like that. I'll teach you. If you have goals and dreams, I'm putting together a community of people of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Every day we'll be talking about how you can develop your mind. Every day we're talking about how you can learn a new skill that will put you outside of the realm of a job, the journey of the broke. Every day. When you're in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, and I'm coaching you, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor is entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. When you are willing to open your mind to new possibilities, upgrade your skill set, and get around the right people. I can't tell you the number of intelligent, gifted people who got it wrong. They got around the wrong people. And that short-circuited their potential. I want you to think about what are your goals and what is it that you see for yourself in and out of the pandemic. You just saw a video. Here I am, 77 just a few months ago. About 3 months ago, I connected with my birth family. And to see a picture for the first time of my birth mother and father. This thing called life, it's just so unpredictable. And so that in the middle of all the stuff that we have to do and the things that you have to do in terms of your personal stuff, in terms of your business and the people that's a part of your team, and all of the unexpected distractions that we just don't see coming. This is a very challenging time. And what we have to do and know is, first of all, we have to have a program for ourselves to handle what's going on. And I want you to write this down. When things go wrong, don't go with them, because they're going to go wrong. That's going to happen. And so having a strategy, a game plan, a ritual to train your mind to observe things and not buy into the things that you see, that's major now more than ever. This is no time to lose it. And so when we look at all the conflict and all the things, the confusions and the violence and the spike in suicide and politicians lying out of their necks every day and say, don't believe your lying eyes. You say, come on. This is a different kind of place. And so this is a time that you have to begin to focus on you. This lady, she was working in hospice and she was interviewing patients who just had a few weeks to live, about 2 months to 3 months. And she asked them, what do you regret about your life? and the majority of them said that I wasn't true to myself. That I wish that I had done the things that had been true to me. It's been said that most people die unlived lives. They die a life that's not them. And so I started examining, where am I now and what am I to do with what I'm going through, just with one of my children who's bipolar schizophrenic. How do I handle that? I call FAF and say, hey, I need some help. Do you know anybody that can help me? Because here I am, can motivate people around the world, and my son, look like I made him by myself, can't hear my voice. So that's very challenging, and it's very humbling. So part of what I want to share with you, develop a ritual for you. I'm the fix-it person, but I had to begin to anchor myself in the words, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And if that wasn't enough, I'm at Cancer Centers of America last week, and they said, Mr. Brown, we know we gave you the Perseverance Award for 29-year prostate cancer conqueror, but we see something here, because I just said, let me just check myself out and see how things are going. And they said, your white blood cells are low. We've not seen this. And I remember reading a book called Who's the Matter with Me? And what I realized, that the shift that has taken place in my health that I'm now proactively dealing with, it is a result of stress. That I was allowing the stress, dealing with my son, dealing with the business and all my children, and all of the things that I just have to deal with, no, excuse me, not have to deal with, that I get to deal with. I want you to write this down. Operation Clean Slate. Come on, somebody. Well, I'm coming for you right now. I started saying, wait a minute. A lot of stuff that I had on my plate, it wasn't my stuff. And so I decided Operation Clean Slate. I started getting stuff off my plate, my children, my brothers and my sisters and friends. My mother had a sign, my adopted mother had a sign on her mirror, and it read, oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business. Now I understand. I want you to write this down. We live our lives forward, but we understand it looking backwards. Now I understand what Mama meant, because I was putting my nose in a lot of business that was not my business. Operation Clean Slate. So you have to sometimes stop, look, and make an assessment and ask the question, what am I to do with this? Where am I going? What's going on with me? Who am I really? Who have I been being? And I have been being Superman or Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. It's Mighty Mouse. He's on his way. I said, no, I resign. I can't even call Superman to help me out. You know why? Because they eliminated the telephone booths. He can't even change clothes. I told him not to remove those telephone booths. He's not going to risk being arrested for indecent exposure, taking off his clothes in a telephone booth. Now that's not an option. So, so here we are. And we have to deal with this stuff. And so number one, you got to be true to yourself. You got to have a ritual to take care of yourself. And you know this. And it's very important. And sometimes we need to be reminded of what we know. I'm getting still, and I'm reading the Bible, the Torah, the Kabbalah, the Holy Quran. I'm reading everything. When they said, Mr. Brown, your PSA, which stands for prostate specific antigen, 2,400. Wow. And I say, whoa. But guess what? I got it down. I got it down to below 0. Then it went up to 4. And so I'm working on it again. But what I know is I'm minimizing the stress in my life that I brought into my life. I take responsibility for where I am and this situation. That's an opportunity to prove my discipline and my commitment of making choices that I would be here and at 77 making the rest of my life the best of my life. And I know that many of you have decided in this mastermind, that's where you are. And because we can't do it by ourselves. And so building mental resolve. I get up early in the morning, listening to things to fortify me, to begin to strengthen myself mentally and emotionally and spiritually. Here's something else. As you begin to dig in and start thinking your life, rethinking it and looking at yourself. Why is that important? Because this is a new space that requires a new skill set. Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so Les Brown had to say to himself, hey, look here. If you do the same thing that got you here, that won't serve you in this new space where we are. So self-awareness is very important. Am I being me? Am I being true to myself? Am I doing the things that I need to do to keep myself on the path, to do the things that as I go forward where I am an asset to my family and not a liability? Here's something else. Whatever your goal and dream is, I can share with you based upon my experience, it's possible and it's necessary. You got to decide, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen. But not just that, but also who you have to be in order to do that. Because at the end of the day, and you know this, being with Fab, that people don't live life as it is. You live life as you are. If you're not playing with a full deck, if you are not getting a full night's sleep, if you don't have the clarity of mind to make good decisions that will serve you and your team and your family, that's going to be challenging. You become a liability. As Jim Rohn said, is your life a warning or is it an example? A warning of not to do or an example of what to do? So taking care of yourself. And I want you to write this down. Live your life, and this is where I am. And I really want you to put this someplace that you can see it. Live your life the way that you want to lead your life. I was talking to a room of entrepreneurs, and I asked them, if you knew you had just a few weeks to live, what would you do differently? And I was surprised that the majority said, I would quit my business, and they start thinking about things that they were going to do. And here's what was fascinating. There's a young lady in there named Pauline Ahi. Pauline was born with no arms and no legs. And so as I was passing her table in this training I was doing, someone said, did you hear what Les said? Write down the things that you would do differently if you knew you just had a few weeks to live. She said, yes, I heard him. And what most of them did at the table, they talked about quitting their business and start traveling and just doing a variety of things. And what she said, I would continue to be me. And when they heard her say that, these people who had written out all the things that they had taken on and all the things that they said that they would step away from, they began to rethink themselves. And I asked also the second follow-up question, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now? Pauline did not have one thing on her paper. No arms, no legs, married with children. And they asked, you gotta have some problem. You don't have no arms. You don't have no legs. That's gotta be very challenging. He said, I don't have no challenge. I find a way to live life on my terms. Whoa. That's major. She said, I've set my life up, my environment, the people in my life, the things that I'm doing. There's nothing that I'm doing that's outside of what I want to do. I'm doing the stuff that's me. I'm being true to me. That's some lesson in that. See, if I knew I had a few weeks to live, I'd do more Zooms and give more motivational speeches. I told my kids that they tell you I'm dead, don't let them embalm me for 3 days. Sneak in there and put a microphone in my head and my hand in the morgue. And if I don't grab it and say, you gotta be hungry, you call your brothers and sisters and say, Dad, gone. Careful, and if my casket give me a microphone or some Colonel Sanders chicken, I'll be fine. This thing called life. So just determining who are you now and who is it you need to be for this vision that you see of yourself, because life is very challenging. It's sometimes up, sometimes down. Sometimes things go well, and sometimes they don't go so well. It's a roller coaster. And so be true to you and decide the things that you envision for yourself, the reason that you're there, the goals that you've set, the relationships that you're building. Make sure that it represents who you are and the things that you envision. You got to have a mindset that I'm going to do this, just like we got started out. Some stuff happened. It's called life. Think it not strange that you're faced to fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. Here's something else. Determine what is it that you really want. That's major. What do I really want? And when I started practicing, and I got this from a friend of mine, business partner, Celeste Johnson, Operation Clean Slate, I took a lot of things off my plate, and I'm focusing on doing those things that's in my heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. Spending more time with my children and my grandchildren and my 4 great-grandsons. And so when you look at the things that you want, creating special moments, it's been said, is not the number of breaths that you take, but the number of breaths that takes, the number of moments that you create that takes your breath away. And that's what I'm looking at and focusing on. I remember when I read this article about Howard Hughes, who at that time was the wealthiest man in the world, and they were trying to rush him someplace on an airplane, and he died. And someone asked the question, how much did he leave? And somebody answered, all of it. And so when we look at ourselves, we got to ask, what's really important? Making a decision, and this time that you're there to rethink your life. What's necessary for you that you want to do before you check out? I remember being at Caesar's Palace, and Frank Sinatra was at a table seated next to me, and at that time I was married to Gladys Knight. I was the conductor of the midnight train. Come on now. I was one of the pips. I was the conductor. Come on. And I heard him say to a young man, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so now I want you to write this down. And this is a biggie for me right now. A friend of mine, Samantha, and I said, how you doing? And she sounded so bubbly and so happy. I say, what's going on with you? Why are you so bubbly and happy? And I haven't seen you in a minute. She said, well, the reason I am, and I'm like this every day. And I said, why? She said, this is a non-refundable day. Whoa. I don't have time to be depressed and stressed out. It's non-refundable. I'm going to make the best of it. I hear you talking about making the rest of your life the best of your life. She said, that's real, because each moment, each day is non-refundable. I reminded myself that every hour, the time that I invest, the conversations that I have. I won't take a phone call unless it's positive, unless it's purposeful, unless it's productive, unless it's going in the direction of where I'm going. I'm not just going to give my time away. I'm 77. No, homie ain't playing that. I'm going to lead my life the way I wanted to do something more meaningful and make a greater impact. I still have some more in me. Simba, you're more than that which you have become. I still believe, and I'm sure some of you believe, that you still have some more in you, that the best is yet to come. Here's something else. Your why. What has driven me and caused me to become the person that I am was I wanted to take care of my adopted mother. You know, my birth mother, she gave me life, but my adopted mother, she taught me how to live life. I feel like Abraham Lincoln had said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. And Mama, she was always engaged in life. She was always looking for ways that she could do something differently. It was not unusual for us to come home and Mama, as small as our house was, that she had reconfigured the furniture in the house. And I remember one time coming home and there was a big window in the living room leaning up against the wall. And I said, Mama, why do you have this window here? Well, they tore this house down and you say you're gonna get me a home. Well, I got this window, so you're gonna build me a home. I got a window that could fit. I said, no, man, I'm not gonna buy a home that don't have windows in every room. Come on. And she most certainly accelerated me to getting the home that I promised her that I would get for her. But she had the vision saying, I'm going to participate in this and what you're going to do. I'm going to do my part. And so what reason you're here, you've decided, hey, I got something else I want to do. You've got some bigger goals that you want to achieve. And write this down. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I got 3 brothers, 2 that I didn't know. And they look at me and say, whoa, how is it possible? You're just like our birth mother and you didn't know her. And our grandmother, and you didn't know either one, didn't see them. How is it possible you're just like them? And the reason is, one, they didn't have any goals beyond their comfort zone and still don't. And they're fine with that. And that's okay. And the other thing is that people say, well, it's in your genes. No. I remember spending a whole day with Maya Angelou, and Maya Angelou said, it aggravates me when people say I'm a natural communicator. She said, show me a natural heart surgeon. She said, no, I'm trained. And so if they put in the effort and the time like you're doing to get training and upgrade my knowledge, my relationships, expand my vision and dreams, I would be living just a non-consequential life. I didn't want that. The reason you're there, that you want to make a greater impact with your business, with the people that you're working with, to bring out the best in them, but also be the model, not just the messenger, but the message that you want to bring out the best in yourself, to challenge yourself. Iron sharpening iron. That's why you're there, creating collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. That's why you're there. You know there's something in you that says, this is not just it for me. There is more for me. People can be distracted by what's going on in Ukraine, by what's going on with the virus. But as for me, I know that this is my life right now. There is no duplicate, and I want to maximize it. Give yourselves a round of applause for reaching for your greatness. Do that right now. Here's something else. Make it important to know what drives you and what's most important now. There are things that used to be important to me, they're no longer important. And that's why I've been doing Operation Clean Slate, getting a lot of stuff and a lot of people out of my life. I remember when I read the book, Who's the Matter with Me? I wrote down the names of the family members and friends that I communicated with most. And I asked myself the question, is this relevant? This relationship, is it productive? Is it positive? Is this relationship, does it bring the best out of me? This relationship, this energy, does it challenge me, hold me accountable to a higher standard? People rub off on you. Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. He said, either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? I want you to write this down. OQP, going forward, only quality people. I do not allow myself to be in the company of people that I know more than them. Why? If you're the smartest one in the group, you need to get a new group. No. Jim Rohn said something. He said, your life is either a warning or an example. A warning of what not to do or an example of what to do. And part of what I'm saying to my children, hey, be careful about who you're around with. I remember Mama saying, Leslie, if you run around with 9 broke people, she said, I guarantee you become number 10. And so as you look at growing your practice, as you look at making a greater impact in your community, as you look at the things that you want to do and being involved in legacy building and making the rest of your life the best of your life, we have to constantly monitor and be mindful of who's around us and what relationships that we have. People say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Not just that, it's who you know and what they know about you. Do you have the kind of reputation in the industry that people will see you as a go-to person? God said to Abraham, I make your name great. Didn't say I make you a great man. I make your name great. The reason that when Fab calls me, he's a good man. He calls me, I don't call everybody back. But when he calls me, because of how I see him and because of my relationship with him, because of his vision, because of his integrity, because of the stand that he's taken with his life. People say, practice what you preach. No, preach what you practice. And what I know about him, I'm going to answer his call. I'm going to follow up. And that's the kind of relationships going forward in and out of the pandemic that we have to continue to look for and to develop. Some of the relationships that we need to spend less time with. There's some people, if we never saw them again, it would be too soon. Yes, what I read that you earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends, I got all my broke friends out of my life. I used to be so broke, I walked past the bank and tripped the alarm. And so this is the time you have to look at who's around me, who's the matter with you.
Only quality people. You don't want everybody in your organization. You want only quality people. Here's something else he said. Mr. Brown, yes, sir. And this is what we're going to do in this presentation. It's called presentation power. He said, develop your communication skills, how you present yourself, how you sell yourself. He said, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And then he said something else. Let us say together with conviction. I want everybody to join me on this. Let us say together, you got to be hungry. Say it again, you got to be hungry. He said, what do you want to do with your life, young man? I said, sir, I want to buy my mother a home. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, people that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. He said, people that are hungry are relentless. People that are hungry are unstoppable. People that are hungry refuse to give up. People that are hungry, no excuse is acceptable for not making their dream become a reality. I said, I'm hungry, sir. I'm hungry to take care of my mother. I'm hungry to make her proud. I told my mother that she'll never have to pay another bill once I turn 18. And she hasn't, Mr. Washington. I'm hungry, sir, for another life. I'm not going to die here in Liberty City. I want to travel, sir. I want to see the world. He said, you can do that, sir. He said, practice OQP, only quality people. If you run around with 9 broke people, he said, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. He said, work on your mindset. Listen to these audio programs I'm giving you every day. Glenn Turner, Dare to Be Great, every day. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Jim Rohn, every day. Zig Ziglar, program your mind, Mr. Brown. He said, how do you plan to buy your mother a home? I said, sir, I want to become a disc jockey. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He said, it's good. He said, work on your mind. Here are my car keys. What do you want me to do with this? At lunchtime, go in my car, turn on the radio, and listen to Paul Harvey. Why? He's the world's greatest communicator. You want to be successful? Yes, sir. He says, listen and study people that are great communicators. That's the key to controlling your future. I said, but that's at lunchtime. In order to be successful, you got to be hungry. You got to be willing to do the things today others won't do. Are you willing to do that, to be successful, to buy your mother home? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what you have done. You've got some goals that you want to achieve. There's some things that you want to do. And you've said to yourself, I'm willing to face the no's. You've said to yourself, I'm willing for people to laugh at me. You said to yourself, I'm willing to gut this out. You said to yourself, I'm willing to make this happen. You said to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build this business. I can do it. If anybody's ever done it at any point in time in history, then what's possible for one, it's possible for me, and I'm going to do it. That's what you said to yourself. He said, listen to Paul Harvey every day. So you want to be a disc jockey? Yes, sir. He said, I want you to create your format. What will your personality be? What style are you going to have? I said, wait a minute, sir. I want to be a disc jockey, but I don't have a job yet. And then he said something. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. He said, you got to expect to become successful. Let us say together, I expect to win. I expect to increase my recruitment. I expect to be a great presenter. I expect to become a millionaire. It's my time. It's possible. It's necessary. It's me. It's hard. It's worth it. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. Your homework assignment is write down 5 reasons that will make it worth it for you. So when the tough times come, and they're going to come, when you feel like you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a part of the process, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to take you through the storms of life. He told me, you want to be a disc jockey? Practice on your communication skills. Visualize yourself talking to thousands of people, Mr. Brown. See yourself on stage presenting. Be willing to invest in yourself. Warren Buffett was being interviewed by a financial analyst on CNN. He said, what's the most important investment a person can make today? Warren Buffett, a billionaire, has billions of dollars in the stock market, billions of dollars in real estate. He looked at the reporter and said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. The reason you're here, the reason you invested your money, your time and energy in transportation and the room and all the costs in a so-called tough economy, because you have the mindset of a billionaire. You know, investing in yourself, you are your most treasured asset. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. So he said, Mr. Brown, I've done all that I can do for you. You've got to go out and face the music.
I love to ask, right? So we have a big coaching program, marketing program, agency, and I never dreamt this would ever happen. But as we grew and grew and grew, we actually started hiring, more like accountability, mindset coaches. And even a lot of the work I do now is more talking about mindset, big picture. And my members laugh because I'll always preface it like I'm not a mindset coach, but I'm a marketer. But here, this is how I think. And I think because it's natural to me, I'm pretty good at it still. And we give these talks and we have these coaches. But one thing I noticed, just like say fitness, is people leave invigorated, motivated, inspired. And it may last a little, but then they drop back again. And then they kind of get in this hamster wheel of a bit of motivation, then they go back to their old ways. How does someone work through that if they're listening and they kind of feel they're in that position now?
Just think about your parents. They had a ritual.
Okay.
And they were consistent.
Yeah.
They did it. And they didn't operate in implementing the ritual based upon how they felt. They did it based upon what they knew. That if they did it and did it and did it, that will continue to push themselves and to challenge themselves and take themselves to the next level. But if they got up in the morning and said, well, I don't feel like it today, that's going to cost them.
Yeah.
That kind of mindset, if you operate around your feelings, you will not become a gold medalist.
Well, I feel that's half the entrepreneurs. Some days they're in it, and
yes.
some days they're questioning themselves.
So it's hard, then do it hard.
Yeah.
Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want would automatically take over.
Yeah.
So you live from do what you know, not what you feel. We never feel like doing the right thing.
I think that's important for people to know, because I think they see people like me or like you, and I think they think we just like, life's great and it's easy and it's successful and we wake up every day.
No, life is hard. It's going to slap you around. It's a part of the price of knowing that life be life. Things are going to happen to you. Viktor Frankl, in his book called Man's Search for Meaning, and he said that adversity introduces a man to himself. Life is going to happen to you, to me, and the people that we care about. And it's continuous. It's an ongoing process.
So I think if you're listening, watching this, and you see the successful people, I think all you're seeing is they just are maybe moving through those problems and patterns more consistently and maybe handling them better than the people that aren't. And that's why they look successful, because everyone's I always say, you're always getting hit in the face, right?
Yes, right.
We just get back up or deal with it, and we're like a pro boxer that we're so used to being hit in the face now that we just keep boxing. Whereas when you're a normal person that doesn't fight, you get hit in the face, you get knocked on the floor, knocked out, and you you call the police and have to have a week off.
I have a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
I know that saying very well. It's a very famous
Absolutely.
saying. Yeah.
Willie Jolly, a young man that I trained as a motivational speaker, he said a setback is a setup for a comeback.
I like that.
We all have comeback power.
So back to the part about the routine part. So if you're listening to this, I kind of want to phrase it. So I teach the same with social media. I say, hey, the reason you're not successful on social media is you post for a week well, and then you take a week off, and you post for a week well, and you take a week off, and it's the consistency thing, right? So you're almost saying even the mindset thing is building that ritual, building that routine, and it's like the gym. On the days that you don't want to go, that's probably the biggest calling that you should be going, and you've got to build that routine. Yeah.
Al Williams said something I like. He said, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Most people will not do the hard work. And life is hard. Most people won't challenge themselves. Most people won't push themselves. And so you have to have what I call a made-up mind. You've got to make the commitment. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established. The difference between being involved in training, being involved in becoming a gold medalist, And commitment is next time you have bacon and eggs, look at it. The chicken was involved. The pig was committed. He had to give it all up. And so to be where you are now and where you're going, and the people that are watching us and embrace your philosophy, they're willing to give up being who they are. There's sacrifice that's involved in everything that you do. And you have to ask yourself the question, what am I willing to give up?
Yeah.
As you look at the goals and dreams that you want to achieve, it's been taught to me that if a man is to gain his life, he must lose his life. You've got to be willing to lose who you've been to give birth to who you've chosen to become.
Wow, love that.
How can people navigate the new normal and arrive at a place of greatness? Because that's one of your themes, with success and prosperity. How can they do that?
If we just follow the things that you've been teaching for years, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's a very important statement there. Why? I didn't do what I'm doing now for years because I was allowing my thinking, my belief system to govern my behavior. The mind believes as a man thinketh in his heart, but the heart knows.
Yes.
Ye shall know the truth, and the truth that you know will allow you to accomplish and do things that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. Just think about the fact I'm adopted, born in an abandoned building on a floor in Liberty City in Miami, Florida, and labeled educable mentally retarded. And now I earn $70,000 in an hour, where I used to be so broke I walked past a bank and tripped the alarm. Oh, behave, whatever. Yes.